Now we are going to talk about the individual senses and what each individual sense does and how it supports us when completing activities. We will also look at how a child may present when they are either over or under responsive to information coming in from these senses. Tactile sense. Our sense of touch allows us to feel the world around us and plays a vital role in everything we do, whether it's school, at home, or leisure and playtime. The tactile system is designed to alert us to threats, to give our bodies boundaries, and when combined with other senses will provide us with greater body awareness. The protection response gives us information on pain, touch and temperature. For example, if you put your hand on a hot plate or a hot radiator, you would pull your hand away almost straight away as a response to the body feeling an increased sensation in temperature. The protection response is there to keep us safe and protect us from injury. Children that are under-responsive to this protection response may not realise when they have hurt themselves. The discrimination response is understanding the differences between size, shape and texture of objects in the environment and how we engage in the environment. For example, if I was to ask you to close your eyes and feel in your bag for an item, such as your phone, then most of you will be able to put your hand in your bag without looking and use your discrimination sense to determine what you are feeling by understanding the size, shape and texture of your phone. Poor tactile awareness can have an impact on the child completing fine motor activities like fastening buttons, using cutlery and writing, and gross motor skills such as riding a bike, running and jumping. Sensitivities with our tactile system can have an impact on a child's ability to engage in tasks such as being able to tolerate the feeling of clothing, teeth brushing and food textures. In general, light unexpected touch is alerting and deep firm touch is calming. This is because light touch can activate a flight, fight, freeze response. So what does our tactile system look like when it's not working effectively? Under-responsive children often seek additional tactile sensations to register what they are feeling, whereas over-responsive children are highly sensitive to touch and will try to avoid any tactile sensations. Under-responsive children might be seeking touch, touching everything to learn about it. They may appear heavy-handed, over-gripping objects or breaking toys or objects unintentionally. They may have difficulties understanding personal space of others. They may not be able to understand the sense of temperature, and they may go out in the cold with shorts and a t-shirt because they are undersensitive to that feeling. Over-responsive children can perceive touch as negative, harmful or painful, and it may trigger their fight, flight, freeze response. These children may be highly sensitive to changes in temperature. If someone brushes past them, they may act aggressively to this feeling they receive. They may avoid mixed textures of foods. They may be highly sensitive to clothing and textures on the skin, such as labels and seams. Vestibular sense. Our vestibular system is responsible for detecting movement and how our bodies react against gravity. It provides us with a sense of balance, orientates us within our environment and affects many skills, including gross or large body movements such as walking, sitting, running and other activities. Fine or small body movements such as writing, using cutlery, tying shoelaces or buttoning a shirt. Under-responsive children seek the movement sensation that they need an increase in the sensation to register the movement. They may have poor awareness of changing body position. For example, they may fall off their chair, easily bump into objects and may appear clumsy. They may be constantly moving, rocking, fidgeting, spinning, always on the go. They may seek so much movement that they may be unaware of any dangers or risks. Over-responsive children are highly sensitive to movement, and changes in head and body position may cause them to become distressed during these movement activities. They may be highly sensitive to changes in body position and head position. This may mean that they become distressed when they must complete an activity, such as drinking from a cup or washing their hair. Tipping their head backwards for these activities may be challenging. They may dislike having their feet off the floor, so this may make it tricky for them sitting in the classroom chair that is too big for them, or on a toilet without their feet being supported. These children may also have poor balance because they choose to opt out of activities that challenge their vestibular system. They move their whole body rather than just their heads, so a teacher may call their name and they may turn their whole body to look at them rather than just their head. They may dislike travelling, and they may be more prone to travel sickness. Proprioceptive sense. The proprioceptive sense is our positioning sense. It allows us to know where our bodies are without looking at them. It is our sense of body awareness and allows us to appropriately grade the pressure and force required for an activity. Proprioceptive aids motor planning and coordinating movements. One amazing thing about our proprioceptive system is that this system overrides other sensory systems that may be overwhelming and provides a calming effect. We therefore often use proprioceptive activities as calming and organising strategies. Under-responsive children in relation to proprioceptive feedback may crave input. These children may appear messy. They may have untidy clothes. These children may be messy when eating. They may miss their mouths when feeding. They may prefer crunchy or chewy foods. They may have poor posture and want to slump, lie or lean on objects or people to give them more of the proprioceptive feedback. They may have poor judgment of force, engaging in rough play and not be aware of hurting their peers. They may have bruises on their legs from bumping into things and not realise how they got them. Auditory sense. This is our sense of hearing. The receptors for this sense are found in the ear. The hair cells in the ear pick up vibrations for sound and the nerve impulses are stimulated. This information is then processed, stored and made sense of in the brain. The auditory sense is important in communication and understanding our environment. There are different elements to the auditory system that can support us to engage and learn. So what does our auditory system look like when it's not processing effectively? Under-responsive children. They may seek out additional sounds. They may speak in booming voice because the information they are taking in from what they are hearing is not being processed smoothly. These children may really enjoy listening to loud sounds or noises and hold phones, tablets near to their ears or sit really close to the TV and want the volume turned up. They may even appear to ignore voices and have difficulty following verbal instructions because the tone or pitch of what is being said may not be interpreted correctly. The over-responsive children. They may be highly sensitive to noises and may respond in a flight, fight, freeze response to noise as they may be easily scared. This could be due to the intensity of what they're hearing the sound at, which may lead them to responding by covering their ears to block out the sounds or voices they are finding overwhelming. They may complain or become distressed when they hear noises such as vacuum cleaners, blenders or hand dryers, and that may not bother anyone else. They may be distracted by sounds, not to be able to filter these out to be able to engage in the activity. They may be easily startled because they are more sensitive to sounds. For example, They may become anxious every day at 11:45 before the lunch bell sounds because they are expecting a noise to alert them and create a sensation that feels overwhelming to them. Although these children may be sensitive to sounds, they may also make noises themselves because it helps them to control what they are hearing. For example, if you are humming or talking, this sounds louder to you than someone else. They may be using this to block out other noises that they cannot control and that make them feel overwhelmed. Visual sense. The visual sense is our sense of sight. Our sense of vision helps us understand what is happening in the surrounding environment. In order to do this, the eyes and brain work together to take in information from the world around us and make sense of it. Under-responsive. Under-responsive children may seek additional visual sensory input and visual stimulation. They may love bright or flashing lights or colourful objects. They may require more visual input to engage in their environment. These children may want to touch everything that they come into contact with in order to make sense of what they are seeing. They may need highlighters, more prominent lines in their books, and more visual stimulation when working at school. Over-responsive. Over-responsive children may cover their eyes or make poor eye contact in an attempt to reduce visual stimulus. They may be inattentive when drawing or doing desk work, as they may be hypervigilant to what is happening around them. They may dislike bright lights and prefer a darker environment. They may become overwhelmed when there is too much to look at. For example, if the teacher has a colourful display around the board and then a brighter presentation and they are wearing colourful clothing, the child may find it difficult to focus and engage on the task. Therefore, they may be distracted easily by other stimulation in the environment. If a child presents with any difficulties which are felt to be in relation to the visual sense, it is important for them to have an eye test at their opticians to check their vision. Taste sense. The taste sense is sometimes referred to as a gustatory system. The taste receptors are found on the tongue and are important when thinking about feeding and eating. The taste receptors allow us to tell the difference between sweet, salty, sour and spicy, and this allows us to know what we are eating. Under-responsive. The under-responsive children may seek out highly flavourable food and drinks that will provide them with more feedback. They may be messy eaters due to them craving the taste stimulation. They may put too much food in their mouth to increase the taste feedback. They may love intense flavour or hard and crunchy food to provide them with more feedback. These children may also eat non-edible items such as Play-Doh, sand and mud to get more feedback and increase the taste sensation. Over-responsive. These children may gag or spit out food that they cannot tolerate the taste of, that they may gag even before they have tasted the food due to the smell. They may avoid certain flavours, tastes or textures because they are sensitive to them. They may dislike strong taste and prefer to stick to bland tastes such as white bread, chicken nuggets, chips and yoghurt. Because they are sensitive to food, they may have a toy or blanket that they keep close to them with an enjoyable smell on it so they can override the unpleasant smells or tastes that they come into contact with. These children may only like a consistent temperature of food, so all cold or all hot, not mixed. Smell sense. The smell sense receptors are located at the roof of the nasal cavity, and our smell sensation can have an impact on our taste. Smell helps us to discriminate between objects and environments. Our smell sensation is unique to us. It also gives us a protection response and generates a survival response. For example, if we smell burning, we may run away to protect ourselves. Smell can also help to regulate us. We may use calming lavender spray at night to help us relax, or mint shower gel in the mornings to wake us up. Under-responsive. An under-responsive child may smell everything they touch because they need information to regulate their sensory system. They may not notice the smell of their own bowel movements, nappies or body odour, which may cause social problems. They may sniff food, people and objects, often because they enjoy the smell or need to help regulate because they're not getting enough information from their environment. They may also underreact to new or strong smells that others might not. Over-responsive. In over-responsive children, you may not be aware that you are finding a smell difficult or overwhelming. For example, they may not like a smell on you, such as a type of perfume, and this can cause a flight, fight, freeze response in them. You may observe them breathing through their mouth rather than their nose. And similar to taste sensation, these children may have an item that they smell often to override unpleasant smells. They may also overreact to new smells or dislike strong smells that others do not seem to notice. Interoception. Interoception is often known as the hidden sense and is referred to as the eighth sensory system. It is the sense that tells us what is happening inside our bodies. If you imagine the feeling of being tired, hungry, cold, thirsty, or like you need to go to the bathroom, it is the interoceptive system that helps you sense what's happening inside your body. A well-functioning interoceptive system can sense what the body needs and helps keep it in balance. However, like the interoceptive system, like the other sensory systems, can have processing difficulties. A person can have difficulty responding appropriately to sensory input in this system. A person may be over-responsive to interoceptive inputs. For example, they may have a heightened reaction to pain. Someone who is under-responsive to interoceptive inputs may not feel pain until it hits a really intense level. This confusion can make a person anxious because they don't know what their body needs. This leads them to becoming overwhelmed by emotion, and they may react in negative ways, like have a meltdown, get aggressive, or laugh inappropriately.